Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to WKNI TV 25. We kind of changed it a little bit this afternoon. Normally we have the news at 12, but our guest has got to be someplace by 1 o'clock. And you know how I get carried away with yakking, and she ain't going to get out of here at 1 o'clock if I'm talking to her at 12:30. So we went ahead and decided to do a little reverse today, so I hope y'all don't mind. But I have Miss Judy Short, and she comes from an acronym. I'm going to let her...
I'm from SARCOA, which is the Southern Alabama Regional Council on Aging.
Okay, see, it was more than 2 letters. I was out of there. But welcome to WKNI. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're having a summit today by Comfort Care Hospice over at the Coven County Electric Cooperative Boardroom, I think is what it's called. There we go. I'll get it right. Ed Short will fire me. But going on over there today, a bunch of people speaking over there, and you're one of them, and you're going to be speaking at 1 o'clock. What is your specialty that you have? I see RX on the paper, so that's going to be prescriptions, right?
That's correct. I'm actually the coordinator for 2 programs through SARCOA. One of them is Information and Assistance, but the program I'm going to be talking about today is our Senior RX program, and that's a prescription assistance program for those in the area who are 55 and older or who are disabled. If they are looking for long-term drugs, and I don't mean drugs as drugs,
right,
but as medications for chronic illnesses such as hypertension, blood pressure, heart disease, liver problems, diabetes, then what we do is we work very closely with the pharmaceutical companies. We fill out the paperwork, we send it into the pharmaceutical companies, and they in turn ship the client the medication either to their home or to their physician's office. Now these are 3 months prescriptions. We only have to redo that application once a year, and they're not generic drugs. These are name brand drugs.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a huge advantage. Now, obviously with today being day 3 of the government shutdown, I've got to ask you, is this government supplemented?
Well, actually, it is state supplemented.
Okay.
It is not, what little funds we do get through the government are not being closed down.
Okay.
I have had several people call me saying since the Obama health care law came into effect 3 days ago, how is that going to affect my medications? It's not going to affect them at all. The actual medications are still coming from the pharmacy companies themselves, and the law states that you have to have insurance. Medicare and Medicaid are considered a form of insurance.
Now, do you have to be on Medicare or Medicaid?
No, sir, you do not. In fact, we are looking primarily for those who have no insurance, can't afford insurance, or for some reason have been denied insurance. However, there are some stipulations, such as the fact that if you're on Medicare but you didn't, you chose not to get a Part D plan that pays for your drugs, then we help you there. Medicaid will only pay for, in the state of Alabama now, will only pay for one name brand drug. They usually give generic drugs. However, a lot of people have medications that are name brand. There's no generic for them. How do they pay for that? If Medicaid pays for one of their name brand drugs, we're able to pick up and do the other ones.
Now, obviously, this has to do with the ability of mass buying power, where you can afford to do this for the folks 55 and above. Is that what it is? I mean, you've got deals or agreements with pharmaceutical companies that supply the drugs, the prescription medications. Does that make it where it's easy for everybody to get in?
Well, what it is the pharmaceutical companies do it as a public service.
Okay.
That's what happens. They set aside certain medications. They may have 2 or 3 medications per disease process that they set aside and say, okay, these are the most common medications that are used for that, and we're going to give those drugs, those medications, to those people who can't afford it, who are in need.
Right.
And so it's a win-win for both the client as well as the pharmaceutical company because they get that tax write-off.
So the pharmaceutical company, now I've seen this before where there's signs up or something like that around the pharmacy that says, company so-and-so, if you're having trouble paying for your medications, contact so-and-so, the pharmaceutical company, and that's this kind of program, I'm assuming.
Right, that's this kind of program. We administer the program in 7 counties, and the reason we do that is there is a good bit of paperwork involved. There are challenges of making sure that you get your prescription every 3 months, making sure physicians sign reports saying that, yes, you do need this medication. So we handle all of that. We take care of it all. I have a staff of 3 full-time people who do nothing but take applications, fill refills, and get the medications for those people.
Do you find, and I know this is a generic question in a sense, but do you find that some of the folks, the elderly folks, 55 and above, are a little bit, I don't want to use the word embarrassed, but they hold back from applying for things like this because they, don't want to get the help, and you know where I'm going.
Right. Well, especially in the population that I would say is about 68 and above, they grew up thinking that this is quote unquote charity. This is not charity. You have paid for this through Social Security, through your state taxes, through your federal taxes, and even in some areas through your county taxes. It is something that you have earned the right to have. So if you meet those qualifications, if your medication is available, then we are there to help you get that medication. It is at no charge to the client whatsoever.
I'm seeing all over the social media over the past few days and on the major networks with this Obamacare. We got to talk about that because folks are going to sit there and, like you said, it's how is it going to affect. But a lot of folks are finding out now that when you register for Obamacare or the health care programs now, Obamacare is the nickname that it has, that you have to give all your information to the federal government now. And, then it's controlled by the Internal Revenue Service if you don't, opt and things like this. Is this going to be recognized by, for better lack of a word, Obamacare as a source of insurance or just a source of coverage?
Well, if you were to go online and register for an insurance today, it is my understanding that that insurance, you have different plans that you can choose, just like that you have if you are going to your neighborhood
Right.
insurance company. And some of those plans do not have a prescription coverage as part of that plan. And you may be able to get an insurance that you can afford, but it may not have that insurance for prescriptions. It is my understanding that even though you have that insurance that is not part of the prescription coverage. So there are some medications out there that are so expensive that the pharmaceutical companies don't care. They're going to help you with those medications, whether you have a prescription plan or not.
Well, here's a quagmire. I see a wrench getting thrown into again, another
Yeah.
level of bureaucracy is being put on us. But, all right, a lot of folks have pre-existing conditions, such as my wife and I. We apply on Obamacare. We've got 3 or 4 different categories of insurance we can purchase. And one of the very first questions they ask on that, I've been there, all right, is do you have a pre-existing condition? Well, as soon as you do that, then your insurance level changes for the amount of insurance that you have to pay for, and your deductible changes. All right, so my medications and my wife's medications would help meet the deductible over a period of time.
Right.
Will this count toward anybody's deductible since they're not paying for it?
No, sir, it will not count toward the deductible. It will not, which is really bad. information that we gather, your financials, how much you bring home a month, where, you know, if you live or if you own where you live, if you own a home or if you rent a home, that goes strictly to the pharmaceutical companies.
It doesn't go to the government.
It does not go to the government.
Big Brother's getting a lot of information lately, and everybody's drawing back from that.
That's true, and we have people who really are in need but are scared to give us their information because they're scared it's going to go to the federal government. We do not have any information that leaves our office to go anywhere except to the pharmaceutical company. None of this goes to the state, none of it goes to the federal government, none of that.
That's important to know, folks, because I know a lot of you are like I am. The less the government knows about us, the better off we are. And if we, you know, if this is a clear-cut case, like she's saying, it goes right to the pharmaceutical companies. You don't have to worry about, you know, whether you got your 2001 tax return or your 2012 tax return. You deal strictly between you guys and the pharmaceutical companies, and it's done.
That's correct. We are the advocate for the client.
I got you.
And we are doing it on their behalf. We send the information nowhere else. So, you know, if you get your medication, say you got $8,000 worth of medications last year for you and your wife.
Right.
Nobody knows how much you get. Nobody is aware of it. It is published
and then HIPAA
nowhere.
And all this stuff.
We ask that you sign a HIPAA form just allowing us to be your advocate.
Gotcha.
That is it. But other than that, it's not put
First thing
anywhere.
I signed when I went on Obamacare was a HIPAA thing, and I'm like, okay, there you go. Well, I want to take a quick break because there's other questions that come to mind. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
But some of the things I like to ask you, and I know you're dealing in you know, senior, what did you call it, the elderly?
Right.
Okay. Pharmaceuticals and other things with this organization. But my question comes to mind, okay, well, you can't get the deductible for that, but if I go to a big box store and they've got a special on the medications, which there is a big box store here that charges like $4 and $5 for certain medications if you're on it, what would the benefit be for me to leave that big box store and come through to y'all? I'll give you an example. Don't answer it right now. We'll come back.
Okay.
Okay. But I've got how many medications? 3, 4? 4 that I go to the big box store, okay, and I get them for $4 each, okay? So I'd save that $4, excuse me, save that $4. However, if I join your program, it's not going to cost me anything. But I got that $4 or $5 still going toward my deductible that you got to really look at as a reality if Obamacare continues on. So, with that being thought,
Okay.
we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back. Folks, I'm telling you, hit your DVR right now, especially if you're 55 years of age or older, or if you have family members 55 years of age or older. Start recording this now. We'll have it played back again, but this is important information we need to get out. That's why we enjoy doing this stuff. Gosh, here's a program that if you qualify, I got so many questions for you. I'm sitting here, every time I say I wanted to say, and what about this? But we'll be back. We got to take a quick break. Thank you so much, Ms. Short, for coming on and taking your time with us. And I got to thank somebody publicly for helping us out. Mrs. Irene, okay,
yes,
and right, means peace, Butler, is sitting off camera right now. And she orchestrated these interviews that we've had this week with folks doing this hospice summit today. And it's I wish I didn't have to work and I could be there today. There's so much information being disseminated out there, incredible amount. And free lunch from David's. I mean, how can you beat that?
Sounds like a great idea.
But let's get out of here. We got some questions for you. We'll come back. Keep it real. Keep God in it, folks. We love y'all. We'll be right back with Miss Short, Judy Short, right after these messages. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to Good News right here in Covington County in downtown Andalusia right now at our studios inside. I know you're expecting to be seeing the newscast right now, but we have a guest, Miss Judy Short, that has an appointment at 1 o'clock. And you know how I get. I got to know everything about everything, and I'll ask those questions and keep her here for at least a half hour. She's thought she was going to be here for 10 minutes, and that ain't happening. So we got a bunch of stuff to get out from her and disseminate it out to y'all and let y'all know. If you're 55 and older, this is a must-view segment to watch. We'll have it up on our website at www.wkni.net. Probably tomorrow. Miss Teresa, nod your head, yes or no? Probably tomorrow. She does it. And again, I apologize for not having the news up front, but we've got to do things when things happen. And I do want to say thank you again to Mrs. Irene Butler, who was very instrumental in getting you to come on, Judy. And gosh, okay, now you ready? You have an answer for that?
Ready. Well, the main reason that you would want to go onto our program is the fact that you were stating that you go to the big box stores, you pay $4 for your medications.
Right.
Your medications are generic medications. So, but what happens if you are placed on a medication that's not a generic medication?
Oh, you hit it.
You hit it. Like, just take for example, I have a client who is on a medication that there's no generic for.
Right.
It costs $196 a month. Now, for someone who is on Social Security and only gets $760 a month,
Right.
how can they possibly pay their bills, pay their insurance premiums, eat, and then take all their medication? We find that a lot of our seniors only take half of their medication or only take it every 2 or 3 days
To make it last longer?
they can't afford that huge price. Sure, they think they can go out and get the generic, but for those medications that there's no generic for, we can help them.
That was a very key part that she just mentioned right now, folks, is that if you have the big box stores and get your medications from there, it may just be $4 or $5 of a prescription like mine, okay? I'm on metformin, okay?
Right.
And I get the generic of that, okay? And there's other medications I'm on that I get the generic for because I can't afford the non-generic. And
Correct.
so this is cool where we can turn around and say, all right, I can go ahead and get all of my medications free, right?
Correct.
Now, here's the other question. Can I continue to buy from the big box store the medications I want to and then have only the ones I want?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can do that. Our application is very simple. On the back of the application, you list the medications that you would like for us to see about getting for you.
Do they have to be done through prescription, or is it an automatic setup with the doctor, the pharmacy, or pharmaceutical company, and y'all?
We have to have a prescription, just like a pharmacy does, once a year.
Okay.
That's it. Once a year, what we do is on our, like I say, on our application on the back, you list the medications you would like to see if we could help you with. We then contact your physician and state, okay, client A came in and he needs help with metformin, with say diastolic or protonics or some of these other medications. And we need a prescription for those medications. He sends a prescription to us. We send a copy to the pharmaceutical company along with their application, which we fill out, everything for you, send it in, and then you will get a letter stating, yes, those medications are available through their free help medications, and you will begin to get your medications. And it depends on the pharmaceutical companies. Some pharmaceutical companies will send the medication directly to the client. Some prefer to send it to the doctor's office with your name on it, to that doctor's office, and then the doctor's office will call you and say, hey, your prescriptions are here. We are not allowed by law to get prescriptions for things like painkillers.
Okay.
You know, the narcotics we can't get for you, and that's because we can't regulate it as well.
How about insulin?
Insulin is one we get tons of requests for, and we get insulin for clients every day.
Needles?
Needles, the insulins, the syringes. We also get the insulin pens that you see advertised on the TV a lot. We have some of our clients can't pull up a syringe full of insulin. They can't see well enough to make sure they get the correct dose, but they can use the insulin pens. We get those all the time.
Teresa had a medication that her doctor, her cardiologist, she had a heart attack, wanted her to be on. It was a blood thinner, okay? And it's a famous one. What was it called? It's on advertised all over the place, but it's a high dollar one, okay? Well, we couldn't afford that, and one of our local pharmacies here saw and worked her into a what do you call it, a generic, and a lot less expensive, you know, for her, but the big box store didn't carry that. So I guess where I'm going with here is, you know, I've got friends in the pharmaceutical business here in town, and I don't want to chase their business away, all right? At the same time, we've got to be able to serve those that can't afford to go to the pharmaceutical companies, or the pharmacies. But if we have a high dollar drug or prescription, and I guess back up. Can we be guaranteed by going with you that with this program that every prescription drug is available to us?
No, not every prescription drug is available. Each individual pharmaceutical company has certain medications they put on their list. These are usually medications that are the very expensive ones that they know that people may not be able to afford, ones that there are no generics for, or medications that are really widely used. Okay, saying that, what happens if you come to us and you say, okay, I have to have this medication. I can't afford it. And now you're telling me that the pharmaceutical company doesn't have it on its list. What's going to happen? We still have certain avenues that we can go through, maybe to help you apply to another program that may help you with that medication, that it may not be free, but it may, rather than being $300 or $400, it may be $20.
Gotcha.
Or something of that nature. There are other programs out there that we can help you with.
Well, we just went through that with me last year. I had a major sinus infection, and I was given Flonase, okay, which is a nasal steroid, and that was $195 for a bottle. And I'm not going to mention who it was, but the pharmacy that I went to said that they've got plans that they can work through with the, manufacturer of this stuff, and they got it down to a ridiculous price. And is that kind of stuff that you're talking about?
Yes, sir. That's the kind of things that we can help you with, especially on some medications which you don't use every day.
Right.
These programs, senior RX programs, are geared toward medications you use every day. They're for chronic illnesses like your heart disease, high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, anxiety medications, gastric medications, those type of things that are chronic illnesses that you have to have the medication for every day, day in and day out.
You're not the local pharmacist's best friend.
Well, actually, they do look at us as a resource for them.
Right.
Because there are a lot of times that we have these clients who have been their customers for years, and maybe now that they've retired, they go back to the mom and pop and say, you know, I can't afford this. What do I do? Can you give me like three pills, and I'll take it every other day or something like that. And the pharmacist will say, you know, you really need to take that every other day. I understand the situation you're in. Let me send you over to SARCOA and see what they can do.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to have David Darby on when? Next week? Okay, he's one of the local pharmacists here, been here forever. And I'm going to throw some of these questions at him.
Okay.
He's really a nice guy. Miss Butler knows who David is. And he's the kind of guy that'll come out from behind the counter, hug your neck, shake your hand, talk to you, and just a regular, really nice guy. And we're excited to have him on next week. Our time's up. And I hope we covered the things that we needed to cover.
I think we did.
All right. I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. I'm inviting you back.
Okay. I'd love to come back.
And representatives from different departments of your agency.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Because this is what we're about. We're the community television station. And if I can turn around and make one day better for one person, then that's all I care about.
That's all we care about at SARCOA is we're for the community. We say that we are for seniors, but you know.
Oh, you're going to get me an application. I'm feeling.
But let me tell you, we're also for those people who are disabled, who are not quite at that.
Just over the age qualification.
Who are not quite there. Do you mind, real quick, if I plug our phone number?
Please.
Please give us a call at SARCOA. It's 1-800-239-3507. You can ask to speak to anyone in the Senior RX department, and we can take your application over the phone.
Wow. And we'll have this on the bottom of the screen when we replay this. And it'll replay at least 4 or 5 times the next day, and then all weekend long it'll replay as well. So,
wonderful.
You guys, I appreciate. You know, Mrs. Butler, you just got hired by WKNI to go out and bring people in like this. You better. She comes in here. My name's Irene. You know better than that. Yeah, I love her though. She's such a, folks, everybody knows her. She's an asset to this community. She really is. She makes it happen, and I thank you. Remember, keep it real, keep God in it. Thanks for coming on, Mrs. Short, and looking forward to seeing you again.
I'd love to come back.
God bless you all. We're out of here. Teresa's giving me that eye, and we'll be back with news here in just a moment. God bless.